Welcome to Uncommentary, where we follow the India-England Test Series 2021 and bring to you our opinion, our uncommon opinion to share with you. With me, as usual, is my friend Narayanan, and with Narayanan, hello. And with Narayanan, I'll be discussing day 3 and day 4 because first and foremost, I have to tell you our apologies. There were some technical issues and personal issues because of which we could not bring in the day 3 review. But what we'll do is we'll, somehow cram those points in our discussion today. So Narayan, let's catch up on day 3. India's batting. How do you see that?
As usual, the top order failed. The only good performances were Pant, Washington, and Ashwin to a slight extent. Otherwise, yeah, Shea Pujara, he was really unlucky.
Of course.
Freakish dismissal, but yeah, it's part of the game and can happen with anyone. But yeah, apart from these four players, I think pretty much everyone else kind of didn't put a price on the wicket. Virat was a good wicket, no doubt, and Rohit to an extent because of the way he was dragged out to play that shot. But every other wicket was a gift to the English, and that is what hurts predominantly across all the batting performances so far.
I think Ajinkya Rahane's wicket, yes, it was a free gift, but you had to take the gift because Joe Root's catch was impeccable.
Yes, his catch was really good, and but eventually there was no need for someone to charge down the wicket to convert those kind of shots because Test match is not about chasing a target, right? I mean, if you are thinking of trying to keep up with the run rate, then Test match is not the game for you.
Interesting point. Interesting point that you made now. Moving to day 4. Before we do that, do you want to touch base on one very good thing that happened yesterday? Remember the name?
One good thing which happened yesterday.
So remember the name.
Kyle Myers.
Yeah.
That was unfortunately in India, this match was not even telecasted. But I happened to get a YouTube link, which I'm sure
Right.
Devang or me will be able to share it with you all later, or maybe in the comment section of this. But for a debutant to come into a Test match series in the 4th innings on a spinning wicket in Bangladesh, especially after the way they got thrashed in the ODI series before this, was something incredible. Test match alive is, for this reason, the greatest sport ever.
Yeah,
And by the way,
absolutely.
he becomes the only debutant to score a double in the 4th innings of a Test match.
Yeah, a very important stat that I'm glad that you shared. Now, all of a sudden, so many things are happening in Test cricket. You have India conquering the fortress at Gabba, and then Bangladesh being defeated on their home ground by West Indies, by rather what you would say a West Indies B side, just like India was playing their A side. So some great positives for Test cricket. Not so much when you talk about South Africa against Pakistan, although they did give a good fight, but eventually Pakistan got the better of them.
Yeah, South Africa being in a very strong position in both the Test matches again just crumbled. So it's the same old story, and they really need to go back to the drawing board and figure out how. But this is like a signature pattern through across the entire any crucial match, either in the World Cup, and now it's creeping into the Test matches as well. So I think they really need to go back and get some mental conditioning done or something like that. But yeah, it's so
Now,
sad that being from 233 for 3 to crumble to 278 all out, that is some collapse.
now I wonder how much crucial is the role of the crowds in the game. Now we've seen absolutely zero crowd in this game. India is playing England, and I believe there was no crowds in the West Indies Bangladesh game as well because of the current pandemic situation. If there was crowd, the scenario would be totally different. The current game that we have, and the chase that West Indies might not have won with putting all sorts of crowd pressure. So that adds up. Wonder, all of these things, they play into the minds of the players nowadays.
Oh, definitely. If you just happen to go back a couple of years and witness the India-Bangladesh Nidahas final in Sri Lanka, wherein the entire stadium and the
Yes.
country was rooting for India, you could see at the end when the captain acknowledged that this was pretty much a home game for India. We never felt that we are playing in Sri Lanka, and that is what pulled them over the line with the Dinesh Karthik six on the last ball. So yeah, crowd plays a
Absolutely.
definite important role, and it's just unfortunate. But yeah, we have to respect what the present pandemic and the bio bubbles are made for, especially because without this, even sport would have not been played. So
Oh,
we should just be
100%.
thankful that sport is being played and we are able to at least watch it on television.
Absolutely. And at least we are able to get some sort of entertainment other than Amazon and Netflix.
And it's not just
All right.
entertainment, right? Even sports gives you valuable lessons to be learned, to grit it out, to fight adversity. It's all lessons to be learned. It's not just to be looked at as a sport. And
100%. Couldn't agree more. Coming back to the game that we were discussing, day 4, India start the day with Washington Sundar and Ashwin, the Chennai Trains, as we call them. Do you feel they ever thought about crossing the follow-on and then looking to maybe reduce the lead? What would have been going on through the minds of the people, minds of the players there?
yeah, first target was definitely going to be the follow-on. So to play for time, especially after what we did at the SCG, was definitely going to be one of the biggest, first, biggest and the primary target for the Indian team. Unfortunately, Ashwin got out to a beautiful delivery which looped up. But yeah, that said, we did reduce the deficit, and what happened was for everyone to see, right? England, while batting at 168 for 8 with a target of about 400, were still not sure whether to go for the declaration. They were not sure whether this was still enough, especially after what happened in Gaba and the Windies win over Bangladesh. They do not know whether India, and it's pretty much possible, right? Like today's era of batsmen who just see a target, they see the number of overs, they're like, we're going to go for it.
Yeah,
and,
and if you
and the start of India was pretty much at 4 per over. That's how we have started.
Yeah, exactly. So we scored at 4 and over. And if you say tomorrow, minimum 90 overs left for the day, and the target is 380. So that's 4.3, which again, I believe is achievable when you have Shubman Gill and Washington Sundar and the main man, Rishabh Pant. And of course,
but that's the
Virat
problem,
Kohli.
right? We are only relying on 3 of them.
You've forgotten Virat Kohli.
No.
He's back in the side.
I mean, he's back in the side, but I would love if he can come to form, but I don't have my bets on him, unfortunately. For
he
this
would
test,
be he would be really raring. And you could see at the end of day's play today, where Virat Kohli, even though the match was over, he was still padded. And as soon as the players walked in, he went to the field with the batting coach and just wanted to get some throwdowns done so he could get into match practice. Now, day
and this is
5,
not going to be the Aussie wicket. This is the crumbling Chepauk wicket on the 5th day. So yeah,
it's still a good wicket to bat on, I would say.
Definitely.
The ball was still coming. Yeah, it is moving, of course. But looking at what the English spinners have done so far, if you go back to just yesterday, Jack Leach was struggling. Pant took him to the cleaners, and he had absolutely no idea. Maybe he went back to his hotel room, calmed himself down, had some good fluids going in, and then came back stronger today morning and finished at somewhere about 4.5 per over. But yesterday he was at one point going for about 9 and over, which is really strange in a test match when But then, of course, it is possible when you have Rishabh Pant. Anything is possible.
6 overs 59. That was his that was his bowling figures when Pant was batting.
Yeah, true, true. Now, any key takeaways from day 4? Do you have anything to take away?
I mean, we were lucky to even dismiss them for 178. And we are lucky to have a
Yeah.
target of just about 380 odd for the fifth and final day. So
Mhm.
that is the only positive I can take away.
Yeah. So you say looking forward to day 5, and India just 1 wicket down of Rohit Sharma. That was actually a good spinning delivery. Jack Leach set him up. He had a good length, and then all he did was, he got him out on the third ball. So the first ball was just outside off stump, a good length ball. Second ball on the off stump, a good length ball, and the third ball margin, just a fraction of a variation in the length, and there you go. It spun and took the off
I
stump.
mean, that's the thing,
Beautiful
right?
wicket.
People still, even the experts and the pundits keep coming along and saying that it's so shocking that Sharma has just played about 32, 33 odd test matches for the country.
Hmm.
But then this is the exact reason why he's always missed. When given an opportunity, when he's a mainstay, he's always not performed. Yeah, the odd century here and there does not make him a test player. He will be the best white ball cricketer possibly, but in red ball cricket, it's just a matter of how long can he be given the run by the management. Because I feel there will come a time when they feel Sharma needs to be dropped and someone young, like either maybe Mayank, should be given a proper run as much as Sharma is being given.
Viewers, this is the reason why we have named this podcast series as Uncommentary, because Naran and all of my friends doesn't shy away from mincing his words. He will tell you the most uncommon opinions that he
Hey,
has. Uh, and yeah, this is what makes cricket discussions so interesting with him. And we also encourage you to put in to us all your uncommon questions. And do we move ahead? Okay, so before we move ahead to the Q&A section, any thought for day 5?
um, I think we should just go for the target.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't be as that's straight as an arrow.
Yeah, I mean, no thinking for a draw. We should straight away start playing for the win.
True. And with the batting lineup that we have, batting on up to
I think that's the thing, right?
Ravichandra Ashwin.
I think that's the thing with India, right? India cannot play the first innings. I mean, I think that's what the game has now become. The Indian team do not know how to play unless they have a target in mind with the number of overs. That's when they can like break it down into smaller targets or something and work towards. Otherwise, they are as clueless. Like, what do? We don't know what to do.
Now, I would say India is opting for the EMI option, where you break down the main target that you actually received in the first innings and then achieve it in the
Take the
second innings.
deficit and try to bowl them out cheaply and then break it down into small targets and looking at the time and the number of overs. Go for it or hold back or bite time.
Oh, yeah. And that's what makes all the 3 results possible, and maybe all the 4 results possible on day 5.
I mean, what
Moving
this has
on to
also
our,
done. So what this has also done with the West Indies win, including our win at the Gabba, as well as the draw at SCG, including this match at Chepauk, is I think it puts to rest all those people who are talking about making the Test match a 4-day affair. I mean, no man, no chance. It has to remain a 5-day test, otherwise the game will just lose its charm.
yeah. Now imagine this test match if there was crowd involved. I'm bringing up this point one more time, but just to make the point more clear, that the crowd participation would lighten up the stadium, lighten up the environment. And again, we'll have a nail biting finish, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are expecting a 50% capacity to be allowed into the second test. Still, the final clearance is awaited, but I think that's what the proposal put forward. So another week, we will be able to know whether crowd is allowed to a certain extent inside the Chapel.
We will we will wait and watch, and how happy the people would be of Chennai to go and see their favorite stars battling it out in the
Yeah.
sun.
I would be one of the people trying to apply for tickets, but you never know. It's going to be a lottery system, I guess.
Okay, that'll be interesting. Okay, that brings us to our final session of the day, Q&A.
Wonderful question for
Oh,
you.
yep.
This question is from my friend Arsalan. His question is,
Okay.
do you think Joe Root as a captain made a mistake by not getting his pace attack in early and let Pant, Ashwin and Washi settle down? Should he have got his pace attack to pile on the pressure and wrap up the Indian innings much earlier than what the Indians eventually scored in the first innings?
Two things here. They were betting on the fact that the pitch will support the spinners, and Dom Bess was having a cracker of a day. The 3 wickets on his tally. They wanted to give him a shot at Pant as well, because the ball moves away from the left-hander. Jack Leach, on the other hand, was struggling a bit, so Dom Bess was obviously under pressure. And with the Pacers, you have just 2. One is Jofra Archer and Anderson. Of course, they do have Ben Stokes, but they would consider him more of a batting all-rounder. And you don't want to tie your main bowlers in a 50-degree plus environment on any given day in Chennai. So I think he was trying to rotate his bowlers more, giving them shorter spells. And yes, he could have done that on retrospect, but when you're in the match situation, only the captain and the coach and the vice captain, they know what they're doing. Over here, sitting in our aircon rooms, we can only speculate and think of different ifs
I'm
and
not
buts.
sitting in an air-conditioned room. Not at all.
I understand. Yeah. So that was my 2 cents. I hope, Aslan, that answers your question.
I'm sure.
Yeah. Now, before we move to another question, I have one very interesting observation that my friend Vinay Pujari made. Vinay from Mumbai told me, messaged me saying, every time Rohit Sharma takes a risky single where there wasn't any single, eventually the next ball he gets out. He pointed out at, I believe it was the Sydney Test match and the Gabba both, and today's match as well. That was one point that
Interesting,
my friend
weird but interesting stat if it is true. But
yeah, it is. I have one question for you, Nara. Day 5, turning pitch in Chennai. Do you think the English bowlers will be able to bowl India out, take 10 wickets?
Thanks for the question, Dev. I think that's exactly what they want. The reason why they didn't declare was a twofold approach. First, they were not sure what is the right target because after what they have seen in the last few weeks. And second is they want the pitch to deteriorate as much as possible before the spinners come and do the job for them. Because they clearly know the fast bowlers are completely ineffective after the first 10, 12 overs, after which it becomes easy to bat on. And the spinners will keep targeting the rough around the pitch marks and try to get the ball to jag back or bite up or like loop up, whatever you can, or what the spinner actually needs. And that's when the short leg, the silly point, and the leg slip and the first slip all come into the picture. You'll find a lot of people in and around the wicket tomorrow. If India loses a couple of wickets early in the session, then you could see that happening. Yeah. And by the way, the performance by Bess in the first innings to pick up 4 wickets on his maiden tour to India was something incredible. I mean, yes, Virat's wicket was beautifully set up, but nevertheless, you can't deny what he's done by picking up 4.
And that brings us to the end of this episode. Thank you for joining us, viewers, and we'll see you tomorrow after the end of day's play. Thank you. Bye.